Element 4, training of foreign governments and food producers on the United States requirements for food, safe food. The discussion questions for element 4 include: what are the best ways to ensure that developing countries are engaged with any training efforts? What training methods, modalities, and models are effective, and why have they proven effective? What are potential obstacles to the effectiveness of training efforts, and why? And now go on to element efforts. How should FDA ensure that its training efforts are sustainable? How should FDA training plan be designed in order to ensure the multiplier effect, i.e., train the trainer type program?
So the Institute is a partnership between the University of Maryland and the FDA. We've been providing research outreach and a lot of training activities over the last 16 years. So looking at the training is, of course, very interesting for us to be able to bring our point of view in that. On the first element, on the training methods, modalities, and models that are effective, one of the elements that we've found over the years to be very important is a combination of training that happens in country and where trainees are brought into the United States or another country to obtain their training. There are several advantages to both, besides the cost of travel. For example, training in the United States benefits from the availability of a large number of experts. And we were talking earlier about using FDA expertise to train foreign governments or foreign industry. And there's only so many people and only so far they can travel in only so many trips per year. So gathering people here allows us to pull some resources in a very cost-effective way for the U.S. When we do training in country, in the United States, I mean, it also enables a lot of networking between the people who come for the training and a larger number of experts from our own government organizations. This is an essential component for continued interest, but also for improvement. The training in country, however, and what we call in country is when we send trainers to deliver the material. This can reach, of course, a greater number of participants, but it will always use a limited number of trainers, therefore a set of expertise that will be a little bit more limited. And then we have to be extremely careful about selecting the trainers because of the restricted field of expertise. And then these trainings become so specific, it's hard to deploy in a very large scale. And we were talking this morning about deploying worldwide in a scheme such as the Global Food Safety Partnership. And it's very important that we consider how we can use as much expertise as we can in the most cost-efficient manner. We talk about web conferencing for participation in the development of all sorts of things, including regulation. And of course, web delivery is an important component that should be included as a method for training, delivering training. However, one danger in web training is to just make material available and hope for the best. Assume that it will be used because it is there, and there's no such guarantee. We talked about language. Elizabeth was very detailed some of the language issues and what has been done about these issues, and delivering training again on the web in a single language or a small number of languages limits how many people will go to it. But my point here was more that there has to be some management of the web delivered resources to make sure that there's an understanding of who is taking advantage and who is not. Training is not done just because it's available. And then the obstacles, I'm sorry, I'm taking longer, but I passed a couple of times. So I was banking my time. The last element that I just
The guy
flipped all the way
sucked.
through. that I wanted to address was, and it's been mentioned already, a one-size-fits-all does not work. Um, it is very important to engage the right partners, to establish long-term relationships, to engage industry, the governments, of course, but industry as well, and academia. And academia is essential in some developing countries where there is not the knowledge, and we talked about not the data also to conduct risk analysis. So it's very important to engage multiple different partners from different backgrounds and with different intents in the end.